It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast. Each week we bring you 5 minutes of condensed inspiration to reclaim the courage and momentum you've given away. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. Have you ever been in a situation where you just feel like your gut is trying to say something to you, even though your mind may be telling you something completely different? For this week's Powerback, we're going to talk about using your gut as a tool while fact-checking with your brain. If you've been tuning in with us over the last couple of months, you know that I'm a pretty intuitive person. I use my gut as a road compass every single day. But I realize that not everyone is familiar with this concept, so I want to just dig a little bit deeper into some of the science behind that gut feeling. Your gut can really guide you when you're making decisions or feeling things out or trying to understand a situation. Sometimes it comes up in the most crazy scenarios and it protects you. For instance, have you ever been going home, you have a standard route that you always take, but all of a sudden you had this kind of weird gut feeling like you should go a different direction or pick something up on your way home? And then later you find out that there was a terrible accident or there were deer in the road or something happened on that route. Or maybe you ended up running into someone at a store that you hadn't seen in a long time that you really needed to reconnect with. If you listen to your gut when it is saying something to you, now, no, your gut is not actually saying words to you, but it's more just kind of this deep feeling of something needs to change or something isn't right. It's often associated with kind of that little voice in the back of your head as well. So if you're feeling like physically feeling something in your stomach and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a thought in your mind, 9.5 times out of 10, that's your gut trying to tell you that you need to pay attention to something. In a business perspective, I had a potential client come in at one point, and there were just a lot of signs and symptoms that, we were just not really going to be the best fit for them. And the more they spoke, the more my gut spoke. And the more I let it continue, the louder my gut got. And despite that feeling, I accepted them as a client anyway. Cash flow was tight, projects weren't as dense, it just felt like we needed to fill the void. And guess what happened? It ended up being a miserable relationship for both of us. My gut was trying to tell me. I mean, it had its arms up in the air. It was throwing red flags. It was like, don't do it. Turn around. Go the other direction. And instead of listening to it, I went against it. And I paid the price for it. Now, I'm no scientist or doctor or anything, so don't go quoting me on research papers on any of this stuff. But from what I have read and researched, we have more neurotransmitters in our gut than we do in our brain, which basically means we have a second brain that lives in the center of our bodies. Our gut brain actually serves a really amazing purpose because it cannot overthink. It can't overplay. It doesn't really process any other information than, yes, this is right, or nope, this is wrong. It's kind of like having a magic 8-ball in your stomach. When you have this gut feeling, it releases serotonin, which sends a signal to your brain. And that's where you can feel like you're having that gut feeling, but then can also really process the information as well. I might have a gut feeling that I want to do something big and extravagant, but my brain is going to help me to really make an educated decision based off of the facts. This week, I want you to take your power back by tuning into what your gut is saying to you. I want you to be just a little bit more receptive and aware of when you're making decisions or going about your daily life, if your core and your gut start to interact with you. Notice how that feeling starts to make you feel. If you get kind of a deep, heavy, brick-like feeling, be open to really evaluating that situation or scenario a little bit more to find out a little bit more facts before you make a hard decision. Also notice that the closer that you get to making that decision, does that same gut feeling get louder and stronger to you, or does it back out? Because there's really kind of this sliding scale with it as well. The closer you get to the end result, the louder that this gut feeling is going to be. And if you ultimately end up going against that kind of deep feeling, the situation doesn't always end up the nicest. But on the happy flip side, if you get this gut feeling that's very light, it's very exciting, it kind of raises your vibration level, and it kind of makes you a little giddy excited, Take this as a checkpoint along the way that you're in the right space at the right time with the right people headed in the proper direction. The only thing I want to caution you with is to not only always go off of happy, light gut feelings, because you often want to go 100 miles an hour when you're feeling amazing. And sometimes it just takes slowing down and making sure that you're doing the right thing in the right space and time. But take this as a signal that, yes, this is good and this is right, and you should continue forward. By tuning into your gut, you can really make sound, solid decisions that lead you to the best outcome. Join me next week on the Gutsy Podcast as we change things up a little bit. I'm going to share some business advice and guidance that some of our listeners wish that they had had when they started their business. We've got everything from solopreneurs to corporations and a little bit of everything in between. Until then, follow the Gutsy Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper into the day of the life, follow me personally on Instagram at @thatlauraora. See you next time.